Hey y'all, I went for a change of scenery, so I'm in the office. Ignore everything behind, it's my study work. Let's open with questions. First, shout out to the director of photography for continuity. I appreciate Sadie's wig coming off, and they still had them cornrows on the next day. Thank you for those who felt the need to include that in the script. Shout out to the writers this season one of P Valley. Most definitely picked up steam as you go, not simply because of the social media reach. I mean, trust me, if it's bad, social media lets you know. If it's good, we can also let you know. And I think this show was good, not just from the humanity aspect, the economic background that I brought up, the sub themes that were going on, but it told a story that doesn't always get shown or individuals get exposed to. Shout out to writer, creator, Miss Katori Hall. I'm always giving her praise. And you can call it dick riding if y'all want, but that's not it. You know what? You may think it is, and that's fine. That's your opinion. I see it as giving praise where praise is due. Kudos to all the women directors that were chosen to take over every episode and bring it to life. I have questions. I really want to open this review up with real questions. Please let me know in the comments. I'll be the first to say maybe I'm seeing this with some judgment or some cloudiness or some gray areas. But number one, should we expect Big L to be selling dope season 2 to keep the money up for the Pynk? Because Haley was able to save it, yes. However, I'll talk about Haley later and the fact that she overbid. And I guess we just jumped ahead to what it is. And we had to have a saving grace. So connection, y'all. The connection or the theme here. Andre and Haley, we can see. Halem is also Autumn Night if you're new to P Valley. But we can see the future copulation occurring where they're going to become a couple or something will be pursued. But Andre pride is struck by his wife saying he's not from there. That's not his home. And Haley is encouraging him to, yeah, this is your home. You care and you should show that. But I know developers to fight harder. $250,000 ain't nothing for them to lose, y'all. They're like, I spent that on lunch. Outside counsel spends that on lunch. I'm not exaggerating. I'm telling you for a fact. When you see these organizations, corporations spending $1 to $5 billion as a fine, they have paid attorneys at least $1 to $2 billion in billable hours alone. Okay. Yes, your white shoe law firms are bringing in billions on billable hours. Look it up. I'm not joking. Here's the thing, though. Diamond, y'all, I hope he is not heartbroken. I hope it's explained in season 2 that this was just a matter of Keyshawn not being the now I don't say stereotypical because it's not just stereotype. It genuinely is a data-driven process. Women who are abused protect their abusers. The end. Even children who are abused protect their abusers. So work with me, okay? May Diamond be able to survive and sustain the heartbreak that Keyshawn brought to him by protecting Derek. Yeah, but I have to question why. Yep, I know everybody always says why, but this was your opportunity to actually leave and leave without being murdered. Yeah, Haley touched on that. Whenever women go to leave, their abusers or partner that has violence or violent tendencies or threats, that leave space, that window, that's when they're most likely to be murdered, maimed, or come up missing. That is a hard fact in the United States of America. With that being said, I just wish she would have went in, larger numbers and just told herself to get over it. Yo girl, play monkey bars like some men do. You have another man waiting in the wings to go to the next stop. But we can find from Derek's introduction at the club when he told Gidget to go live in that trailer house with you and your cracked out mama. Clearly, Keyshawn likes to find the things of life. Anytime Derek felt comfortable enough to ask, have you met Keyshawn? So I guess the implication is he's the Caucasian boy with the money and he keeps her glossy. But it's like, but you still working. And I get it, y'all. I'm not down in strippers by no means. But I'm like, girl, you are probably bringing in more money than I would. And I mean, straight out of law school, signing on with firms, which really doesn't happen anymore. Well, with the market tanking back then and now the market's tanked again kind of thing. But it really isn't. If you know, folks, you get it. But the point is, it's not as standard cliche as it used to be. We all have heard and seen enough strippers bringing in six figures. Now, when I was an undergrad, there were strippers that worked at the Shoney's with me, and they were not bringing in six figures. But honey, if they worked the pole and the customers anyway, they handle customers at Shoney's. Yeah, if you don't know Shoney's, that's how dated it could be, or the area is gone. But ultimately, they were one of those places that succumbed to their racism was stronger than their food product and their service. But think of Denny's with a buffet on the weekends. So I have more questions about that. I also have questions. I'll go ahead, release my legal thinking. I'll go ahead and just subtract the training that I have and question community-wise. What the hell was Autumn Haley doing in that room with Montrose? Look, girl, even if you scream went for the door, he'll try it. But he can only do so much. You can tell when nobody watching the cameras, ain't nobody come in and all that time. So help me understand, y'all. She couldn't have fought him. At best, he was going to punch you in the face or probably smack you around enough. But at some point, you don't stand and take the hit directly. You got to bob a little bit. Just move a little. Just a little bit. That's all I'm saying, y'all. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Take a few punches. Roll to the door. Do something. But you just don't stay. Especially when old girls showed up to the door beating on the door. All right. So those are my questions. What should we expect from Big L for season 2? What is coming of Autumn Haley being part owner now in the Pynk? Woody, I have no abject understanding of why Woody would hang around when someone came in gunning for his job. And he did it directly to his face. He really did. So I have to question that. And then he kept asking questions after he got basically talked out of a job. So it's up to little Murda to show loyalty or not. And for what it's worth, there was no need for him to. But you could see if Keyshawn got into that situation, she would probably be disloyal to little Murda and everybody else, child, to save her and her Derek. But I'm not judging. I'm just saying I just can't do it. For the sake of TV, and I'm suspending reality to watch this episode, it's hard. No legal background, no career professional, just being a black woman with experience now to go, wait, now what? That's what we doing? Y'all okay with that? Okay, whatever. So I had to come to you tonight. Excuse the pigtails, but this is it for tonight. I was going to wear my turban and go to bed, but I was like, no, I don't need to sleep on this. I can put this out. This will be a good 30 minutes. I understand most people rock with me until 19 minutes. Hey, if you got some feedback, how the reviews can go better, smoother, more entertaining, let me know. But this is where I am in this situation. I've already given shout out credits to individuals associated with the series. Now the concerns of the questions are on the table. Uncle Clifford opens with a recap from this whole season, basically, but primarily the last episode. We are reminded that Diamond offers to take care of Derek for Keyshawn. And you know what? Montrose is right. You ain't shoot well enough. Haley actually said, I killed you. I thought you were dead. Well, you ain't shoot well enough. Ladies, we see it enough in horror stories. But if it comes to that, take 2 shots. Follow up. I don't know. Don't just shoot and run. It ain't no parking lot situation where you scared. Look, my daddy taught me, well, if you point it, you have to use it. You just can't point at anyone and not. So with that being said, this is where you got to be prepared for all outcomes. But hey, the show was written as it's written. And my daddy ain't part of it, and neither am I. She explains, because Montrose asks, what's going on with my money? Apparently we learned that Haley does have a brain for corporate finance. She was in corporate America in accounting, and nice shape, pretty face, got Montrose. He's wrapped up in some gang affiliation. I forgot. It was like double D, what it stood for, and I forgot. But that's now answering the question, which one of the OG followers, thank you so much for the input. She bathed it in the bourbon to mix that fresh money with her strip club money, so the bank. And I thought it was so they could be standoffish because of the putrid smell, not to also not question it. Because let me tell you now, I don't care what the source is. You see a number that goes over those reporting requirements. It could be stacking. It could be anything that gives you that flag for compliance. That form is coming out. Now, you ain't got to tell me, but you better fill this form out. Now, I know enough places leave it up to the bank manager where it's discretionary, where it goes from there. But when compliance comes back around, there is a true verification process and there is additional reporting. And then if it doesn't flesh out or met out as it could, this is how you get the cops involved. This is how the feds get involved. Simple as that. There are STAR, suspicious activity reports, that have to be filed, and it's not up for debate. And when on it, either the federal regulators come in, OCC usually, a few others, the Federal Reserves, I would say CFPB, but they really usually only come in when people complain. But when those regulators come in, you better believe it's balls to the walls. That's the best way I can put it. And those forms are going to be double checked, rechecked, and triple checked for the umpteenth time, and it gets on everybody's nerves. However, it's very, very vital, and it needs to happen. So, moving along, she explains the money isn't here. I have it in the bank, and that's what he questioned. How? Really? You going to put that much money in the bank? We learned it's $250,000, easily $500,000. But it's like it can't just be $250,000 because she blew the whole $250,000 on buying the Pynk at the auction. So the previews we saw of them walking upstairs and they head into a funeral procession. Honey, we all should have known. That was just Uncle Clifford being extra with the ladies. It looked like a New Orleans funeral for some strippers before. I promise I've seen those outfits. Anywho, heading to the auction to save the Pynk. But I guess they were just going to go and watch because they didn't even make an initial bid. I'm like, yo, on the final night, no one made at least $50,000 because it opened with $50,000. And Andre bid against himself to $55,000. Even his wife said, no one's bidding against you. And that's when it opened up for Haley to the left to start bidding against him. Lady in white. Anywho, Lil Murda comes out. He's like super, I guess, starstruck by the crowd knowing the lyrics to his song. And he screams in his head. You can see it. You know, it's like when you meet someone, it's like, oh, that's my friend in my head. That kind of thing. But he screams in his head and then he throws the fur into the audience. Baby, come on now. I was so glad when Uncle Clifford went to go retrieve that fur. And she had to fight for it. Had to fight. The customer fought back. But I can like, yo, girl, you know he wasn't giving that up. That was just for show. You know, that's the way I would have took that. But hey, whatever. Maybe it caught her off guard. Yes, there were enough ladies there that night who wanted their breasts. Yes, I know that's no word. Signed by Lil Murda. And they wanted to be in the mix. I really wanted to ask y'all who was the talent scout from Atlanta. Then I remembered. He's from that Black network. Movie network. I forgot the name of it. But I've done the trial. They only got that one show that I really like on there. And that's it. It's like matrimony or something. But essentially it's a wife swap. You go and you be with this other person. And if you and your spouse can come back together or agree to a part, like you get more money if you stay together. Some money if you go apart and you both say you want to go to separate ways, but no money if you have two different ideas on, I want to stay together, the other person says I want to be married. At any rate, that's actually a good show. It really is. And I look forward to come back, but that's who he was. He was the one married to Reverend Run's daughter. She was a boxer who was bisexual, but really a lesbian, and she was just covering up by being with him kind of thing. And that broke them up ultimately. But anyway, moving on, Derek and the Atlanta Scouts checking out Miss Mississippi. And you could see in his eyes, he wasn't hard selling it, that he was more worried about the girl. Rome Cafe is what he's called. Big L finally is watching the cameras. And watching the cameras meant you get to see Autumn Haley Knight in the room with Montrose being held hostage. But all he said is, it's straight colorism. These light-skinned girls that ain't even got to put no real work in it. I'm like, oh, baby. So she even took off her top. Because for the last night, there should be no breast exposed. So no titties and no tequila. And that was her signal to the office. Like, hey, come break this up. Any rate, somebody knocks on the door. She's scared to run forward. Montrose holds her hostage. Starts to choke her. And she's like, I can't even breathe. Honey, look, y'all can't fight when somebody's choking you. Sometimes you just got to go with it. and let them believe they got the upper hand so you can get a little bit of freedom. But hey, maybe it's because I'm bigger than Autumn Haley Knight. Apparently she's what, 5'9", 140 pounds. And don't get it twisted. Anybody out there like, yeah, big girls can do such and such. No. A man's strength can still outdo my little strength. Even if I'm doing the best HIIT training, free weights, and proving all the muscle capacity possible. Even Layla Ali will let you know. I'm still a girl. Like, y'all, this is biology. So moving along, I'm assuming and trusting everyone who checks in here is sharp enough to know that. And so that's why we get along great. Shout out to the 40 subscribers. I know y'all are like, what, bitch? It's just 40. That's the big deal. This is 40 organic, not asking for friends and family and people finding it on their own. Because if you notice, I never usually ask, hey, would you subscribe and like or share? Yeah, I figure by this point, people know. But at any rate, back to the show. The little kid who was babysitting May May's ankle bracelet, I said it twice. Diamond let him in. Y'all, this ID and this boy, nothing. The baby, he has such a baby face. But anyway, he gets in, he finds Mercedes dancing, which irked me as well in the room. Like, we can find Mercedes, but no one can get to Haley in this room. Come on now, the logic. Please be reasonable. Anywho, he tells her what's going on. Mercedes is hot. Coach is questioning. They letting kids in here now? So she's talking to him. He's explaining back, yo, Maine wanted me to give you this flyer. Your girl is on here. So he's like, where's Maine? He got locked up because he had his cousin babysit his ankle bracelet and his cousin went and robbed the crystals. Y'all, when I tell you, all of that was too authentic. Now that is reality. Yes. I have never had it happen to me, but I've seen it enough in various cases. Hell, I got cousins who use each other's sister's ID when they out breaking the law and have no problem catching more charges under that sister's name instead of their own. Like, well, she got less strikes than I do. Ooh. Oh, when I tell y'all, I just thought, okay, that was too realistic. But hey, Main Man is in lockup. Bless his heart. Maybe we'll see him for season 2. I haven't heard, but y'all let me know if you heard it in the media online. They were renewed for season 2. I would hope also 3. I don't know what else trends, even during the week. It was like, look, don't get caught up with the RNC, the Monica versus Brandy versus. We got to remember, Uncle Clifford need $55,000 to save the Pynk. And I most definitely shared it because I felt a certain affinity for it. You know, it was kinship. But maybe I'm missing something. And this goes back to why wouldn't Autumn scream for help, try and make it an issue to get away from Montrose to fight. Clifford gets rejected by Little Murda. Walks in on the meeting with Little Murda and the scout, Miss Mississippi, and Woody. My closed caption is showing it as Woody. Woody. But I was like, aren't they saying Woody? Like straight New Orleans? Ugh. And it's like, okay, anyway. Clifford lays his hand on Murda's left shoulder, and Murda's like, oh, we handling business now. Real cut, dry, whatever. Clifford is in a tailspin, goes to the office, misses out on seeing Haley being abused in the room because he's debating on what should I do to handle this stress. He takes a drink and decides, as he says, because ultimately Murda pops up and Murda talks to him and go like, I don't know where that came from. I was just flexing for him. And you could tell he really just went into like this monotone process. It's not like you could see any joy coming from it or being derived from what he was doing. But Clifford calls it out really well. Not just because you showed me the first time be done. This is a call out. Lil Murda was ready to be public. I'm sorry, LaMarcus was ready to be public. Ready and knew what it would take and how that would go. Lil Murda, he ain't about that. Now I don't want no parts of it. And so when Lil Murda tries to explain, Uncle Clifford's like, well, come back when you got it worked out. I can respect that. Draw the line. I mean, y'all, everybody should have that about themselves. I don't always even have it. So I thought that was great. Not just from a writer's standpoint, but yeah, you got to hide me or act like this ain't that, which I was bothered with the whole 7 episodes of Clifford even bringing it up. No, honey, if you got to hide it, you don't need to be doing it. The end. Anywho, Clifford goes back to call Diamond to stop watching the door, which Big L had told Diamond, hey, go handle this. He was like, I'm handling the customers here. I got to pat everybody. And everybody showed up with weapons. Y'all, there were so many guns and pocket knives and brass knuckles. I was like, they still use those? Child. Because, I have family that uses those brass knuckles to hold the iPhone on the back. But to see it live and in color, Uncle Clifford was rocking it, though. Big L at the back of the truck with Gidget's boyfriend trying to pick up some pills. He has it labeled as produce for sale. And no one still checked on Haley. Mercedes ran all around the club and finally worked her way into the room saying it's bottle service. Here go 3 glasses. Montrose is like, all right, whatever. After a while, he's like, you gotta go. You gotta go. And this is the part I tweeted that I actually enjoyed that they injected again. That colorist issue here. Mercedes it has to be like the tougher one on the surface. And I think that's something I didn't always appreciate, that is understood even from the outside. You're darker. You're seen as not as intelligent. Y'all, I just digested that for the first time like this week. I think it was maybe 2 days ago. I don't know what world that's in. But I do understand light skin privilege exists. I don't reject it. I know it does. I got enough of my own family, and especially with my cousins. Whole nother story, whole nother day. I do know how we get treated differently amongst our own people, especially out the Deep South, especially in Louisiana. Y'all think it's a game? When I tell you I'm just regular black, this is part of that. I let people know real quick, don't come over here with all that. Anywho, but Mercedes has to be the tough one to save it. And Haley act like she'll know what to do. I get it. She has a personal connection. But I also feel like they are conveying really well what has been said since episode 1. The light-skinned pretty bees show up and do less work. They don't even have to dance hard. They don't have to get on the pole and work it. It's not expected. She dances for 5 minutes and get 5,000. I'd have to dance for an hour and get 1,000. That kind of thing. And it really showed up in the survival of trying to get them out the room with Montrose. And I really thought Mercedes would have walked out by now and being like, look, I can go get Clifford. I can go get Big L or Diamond. Somebody. No one even got on the mic to get help. But they all stood in the room and played around and fought some more. Uncle Clifford finally sees it under surveillance. Runs out with a gun. And everybody's fighting Montrose. Bullets are flying everywhere. Derek and Keyshawn's boyfriend is Derek, is now fighting with Diamond. Because Diamond, that's what I want to call out. How is it? Yeah, excuse the clap. How is it Keyshawn is getting manhandled by her man in the club? No one notices. At the DJ booth, look, y'all, I know I'm not in the stripper clubs enough. Especially, again, we have different rules in Louisiana for those events. But no one notices. Thankfully, Diamond catches it, of all people, and he's ready to call Derek out on it. And Derek tries to tell him, you have nothing to do with this. Derek told Keyshawn, you meet me at the car. It's time to go. She's like, okay, am I going to get in more trouble at home or should I be here? Baby, guess what? She was at that car. She was at the car. I was like, look, girl, I know you got 2 kids. But this is where you always have an escape plan. You call somebody else, go get them kids. Somebody babysitting the kids if Derek out here kicking it in the club and you at work. Anywho, she can't convince Derek she needs to keep dancing to make the money that needs to be made. He's ready for her to go. He has seen her get talked to provocatively or with a thirst from the Atlanta Scout. She hugged up with Lil Murda. She didn't dance. He didn't see the whole crowd go crazy for Miss Mississippi. He doesn't like it. Diamond engages in a fight. Derek's like, this ain't got nothing to do with you. Got everything to do with me. Why you over there roughing her up? Anywho, they fight, they tussle. It looks like Derek got the best of Diamond for a little bit. I was so worried. So somebody ran out to Keyshawn in the parking lot and told him what's going on. She comes in. Now we cut to Montrose has now held Mercedes hostage. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead and I let Clifford come in the room. So holding Mercedes hostage with the broken glass she had on his neck, Haley's able to get away. Give me 5 minutes, I'll go get your money. It's in the club. They're talking. Okay, Montrose lets to go. Montrose and Mercedes. He's like, you think she really gonna come back for you? Yeah. But she didn't when she had my money and her child. And I raised that child from when she was a brand new baby and treated like it was my own. You can't be mad at some mama for putting her child ahead of you. I was like, thank you, Mercedes. What is wrong with dudes? Anybody. This is her child. But hey, whatever. Montrose pulls it out that this pretty light skin is a user and she gonna leave you. We cut to Autumn is getting dressed to leave. I mean, hysterical white woman getting dressed to leave. I was like, oh my word, Autumn. Okay, do better. We see her racing and running and getting out the club. She looking around confused and lost. She gets to the car and then she breaks down and cries. What? Okay. She ultimately changes her mind, doesn't leave. She makes it back just in time when Montrose says, your 5 minutes is up anyway. So Autumn comes in after, Mercedes just announced good mothers do what they need to do. Autumn questions, Montrose, you never asked about Autumn. So Autumn is officially the name of Haley's child, which we, speculated earlier and confirmed for ourselves when she confirmed it. But now he's like, I'm sure her mama taking good care of her, but here go your money. Hi, I know all of it's here. He was like, actually, the night I went to leave you, I lost her. She died. Me trying to escape you. He flipped it back on her. Well, that's what you get from stealing from me kind of thing. Oh, child, I would have found something. That's what I get. Look, it's a lot of things you could do. I know from interacting with women who lose, any parent who loses a child. It's unnatural for a reason. Even miscarriages. Look, you don't poke that open wound under no circumstances. But hey, she didn't give him the business. They just fought. Uncle Clifford came. They was able to tussle away, pow, pow, pow. While Diamond and Derek was fighting, you heard the gunshots. But Keyshawn pulled that gun on Diamond and said, get off of him. Yep, Diamond finally got the best of Derek. We had him on that stage, bollywopping him. Yeah, you heard me, bollywop. I don't even know where I get that from. We grew up with it. But anyway, Clifford, now you hear more shots. Diamond runs to the shots after he's like flabbergasted. Like, you serious, Keyshawn? You putting the gun on me? Okay, girl. So he leaves. He doesn't immediately enter the room because 3 shots come through the door. You see the holes and then the blood pours under the door. We don't know who's dead. Is it Mercedes? Is it Uncle Clifford? Is it Haley? Is it Montrose? Out of 4 people, we cut to the next day, folks getting dressed to go to what is presumed a funeral. All black. We are Grace with Miss Loretta Devine's present. Grandma Ernestine is back, child, with the glaucoma taking over her eyes. She is rocking that salt and pepper hair, though. They go on. She trying to drive. Somebody she know her way to the courthouse. Ooh, that don't sound like my mama coming back after getting her eyes dilated and something else. I was like, hey, I didn't order anything because I figured you want to cook. I can't even see. You just drove home. Oh, Diablo. So anyway, this is the kind of stuff I have to deal with. Again, sandwich generation. But they go up the stairs as Grandma Ernestine say all the hoes line up and do the walk. And we learn it is truly the auction. It is not a funeral. We hear the newscaster recap what happened the night before. So we know there's no real time progression. It really is the next day. But everybody's moved along pretty well except for the bruises. And we also see Mercedes, no wig, with her cornrows in, because that's what you do. Montrose snatched her wig off when they was in the room tussling. She goes up to Sister Patrice Woodbine. I heard God gives second chances. Minister Patrice Woodbine says 3rd and 4th and 5th too. But go see your God. Remember, I'm dead to you. And walks off into the girl's shop. I was like, oh, child. So I guess it hit her. She got up and ran after her mama. I feel bad for her because I do understand. I mean, y'all, you're always your parents' child. And you do want to find comfort from your parents. Simple as that. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what's going on. Yeah. That was hard to watch. It really was. Because that was some good acting, though. Congratulations. Mercedes pulled it out. And she got it done. Sorry, I don't know her real name. But kudos for the Pynk covering that topic. And I would really love to see it get flushed out in season 2. To be able to reach. I'm pretty certain, like I mentioned in a little pop-up of what do y'all think is going to happen tonight? What do you expect? That kind of speculation YouTube I posted earlier. Professionals in the industry, social workers, counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, court workers especially, juvenile court workers are the most. We can say, I'm certain we would appreciate that being flushed out So maybe it can have an impact on the children who are being neglected in such a way, or the parents who are doing that casual neglect right now. They may be watching the show, especially while we're supposed to be locked in the house with COVID-19 in effect and coronavirus impact, and the numbers are skewing back up. And when that scale keeps the trajectory goes back up,